Greetings and salutations, folks. My name is Nick, and today, let's talk about the Marvels.
Captain Rambo?
What the hell are you doing?
Entering the jump point perimeter.
And now we have a follow-up to Captain Rambo's storyline in WandaVision.
Hello?
With a little bit of,
Captain Rambo?
with a little bit of Nick Fury tossed in. A follow-up to, Kamala Khan's disappearance at the end of Miss Marvel.
Where's Captain Rambo?
And then the post-credit scene of Miss Marvel, of course.
What the? Hi.
We're looking for Kamala Khan.
I must admit, it'll be definitely nice to see
so our
Kamala Khan's
powers
extended
are
family
enabled.
back again.
I can manipulate
Though I wonder
light
exactly
energy.
how much
And
of that you'll
I can
actually
totally say
see.
no.
Especially considering the size and scope of the movie.
Where's our daughter?
Wherever you were.
But that also might explain why all of her extended family is in the house. Like, that might be all that you see of them. And that is probably the most normal reaction a person can have to a cat swallowing a person with its mouth tentacles.
Shields up!
We're a team.
Oh, no, we're not a team.
We're not a team.
So that was the most recent trailer for the Marvels. It looks fun. At least it looks fun. It'll be nice to see all three of those characters together and back. Captain Marvel, with her movie, it kind of felt like it had a problem giving her motivation for the present and future. Like, her motivation was just to be like, how did I become the way that I became? And ever since her movie, she's kind of become like a galactic space cop. So it'll be good to see like whether this movie is actually going to give her some degree of motivation beyond that. Captain Rambo, we've had a little bit of story development for her in WandaVision, where in WandaVision she gains her abilities and leads her off into space. Kamala Khan has probably had the most individual character development, but it also helps that she has her whole extended family to build off of. It'll be nice to see them again here, but once again, like, I feel like having three heroes plus Nick Fury plus space plus epic space battles, like, there's only probably so much of Kamala Khan's family that's going to be in there. You're probably only going to see like bits and pieces, but then you might have more of them come season 2 of Miss Marvel. But let's jump over to. I'm not entirely sure who the villains are. Like, there's little bits and pieces of this. Like, there's this guy, and there's this. And then there's this person. It seems to be more of the Krull. Like this person over here looks like they have the exact same makeup as Ronan the Accuser. So that might be leaning more towards that. But again, like, it's also probably the influence of Captain Marvel, the more space-based opponents. Not to mention, this might also be leading into Secret Invasion. But I'm hoping that at least the villains are interesting. My concern is that, like, there's just going to be so much going on, like, they don't really have time to be developed. It helps that all three of these heroes have already been introduced. Like, Kamala Khan, we already know, already has powers, already learned how to use her powers. Mostly. That is the worst spot I could have picked. for that. Captain Rambo has powers, has an idea how to use it, and Captain Marvel we've seen several times. So at the very least, as this isn't going to suffer from the usual trappings of a superhero origin story, in which case, like, your usual superhero origin story has a lot of development for the main characters and zero development for the villains, which is like, you look at Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel's villains are like, we're these people, we want to destroy the world. Captain Marvel's villains, we are gaslighters. Like, a lot of the villains in a lot of Marvel origin stories and superhero origin stories in general generally don't get much character development. So I'm hoping that since the main characters have already been introduced, this will allow these villains to actually have an introduction and maybe be more meaningful than, say, most of the villains in Captain Marvel or the villains in Miss Marvel. But it definitely looks like a lot of fun. Hopefully it turns out better than Ant-Man and Quantumania. Though, one of the things I've noticed in regards to movie trailers these days is movie trailers don't care about telling you who's directing things, who's writing things. I like to know who's writing and directing something. Like Ant-Man and Quantumania, it was written by somebody who wrote lots and lots and lots, like over 200 episodes of Jimmy Kimmel, which isn't exactly very confidence boosting for me in regards to like a new superhero movie. Now, I'm not saying that a writer / director can break out of their wheelhouse or what is expected of them to do great things. Like, you look at Craig Mazin, the creator of Last of Us, of Chernobyl. Like, he started his career making like bad parody movies. He has writing for Scary Movie 3 and 4, and he wrote and directed the superhero movie. So there's evidence that like the writer and director doesn't necessarily isn't a perfect indicator, but let's take a look at the writer and director of the Marvels. You've got Nia DaCosta directing, written by Nia DaCosta, Gene Cullen, and Alyssa Karasik. Nia DaCosta, I'm not too familiar with because I have not watched the new version of Candyman, though I hear it was actually pretty decent. As for Gene Cullen, this is the writer of Blade 2 and Blade Trinity. Though Blade Trinity suffers from a lot of other things, but Blade 2 was actually, Blade 2 was actually pretty good, and apparently he's also writing Blade, the new one. And then Alyssa Karasik was one of the writers for Loki. So I feel like there's going to be stronger character and plot writing for this one. I hear that was more an issue for Ant-Man versus Ant-Man and Quantumania. But it does look like fun. We'll have to see what happens when it actually does come out. And was there any other trailers you think I should highlight on my channel? What do you think of the trailer for the Marvels? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.